So I just saw live-action Deadpool fanfiction. I mean Detective Pikachu. I went into it expecting it to either be a cheesy, fun movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, or a so bad it's good laugh your ass off kind of movie, and unfortunately for me it was neither of those kind of movies. So what they did was they had this detective kind of thing where they took itself very seriously for a Pokemon movie. Like, I was expecting it not to take itself seriously at all, that's what I was hoping for, and it seriously came off at times like they were trying to be Blade Runner. Like, the setting looked just like the city in Blade Runner. And I think that the biggest problem with this movie is the script, because the script is so painfully unfunny. Barely any of the jokes land, and the biggest offender of this is Pikachu himself. He's seriously written like an annoying Deadpool cosplayer who just rocks around Comic-Con acting like an asshole and thinking that it was funny. All of his jokes are very stupid and are just trying so hard. I wrote a few of them down. So this guy who has a lot of tattoos walks over to the main character and to Pikachu, and Pikachu looks at the guy and says, "Wow, I wonder what his search history is." There's another time in the movie where Pikachu says that he's addicted to coffee, and then he drinks a cup of coffee. Isn't that funny? There's another time in the movie where there's a giant earthquake happening and Pikachu looks up and says, "How can anyone not believe in climate change?" None of the jokes landed. It was so annoying. It was seriously Deadpool fanfiction. And none of the other characters helped either, because unfortunately Pikachu was the best character in the movie, even though everyone else was just as annoying. Like, the main guy doesn't have a personality, he just does things, and there's this BuzzFeed employee that follows them around, and she also doesn't have a personality. She's kind of all over the place, and she has an annoying Psyduck side character. And none of the jokes they make are funny. These two characters have absolutely no chemistry, and yet they fall in love with each other throughout the movie. This movie's trying to be so many other movies. It's insane. It's trying to be Blade Runner. It's trying to be Deadpool. It's trying to be Attack of the Clones. It's trying to be The Force Awakens. And it's trying to be Batman. And it's not trying to be a Detective Pikachu movie, which was what we paid to see. I'm also confused as to who this movie is for. Like, this is a child's property, but it's for adults because it's nostalgia bait. But the jokes aren't goofy enough for kids to like it. It's PG-13, so parents need to come with their kids, and the jokes are too goddamn stupid for adults to find it funny. So I just genuinely am confused as to who this movie is for. Mewtwo's CGI body was too human and veiny and muscly for me to be okay with his crotch being as prevalent as it is. There was one scene that I thought was funny, unironically, and that was this scene with Mr. Mime, and that was like 5 minutes of this hour and 45-minute movie, and that isn't enough to save it. The acting is very flat, and it doesn't help that the characters are boring. Ryan Reynolds is trying, but he clearly has nothing to work with, and he had no help writing in this movie. If you had Ryan Reynolds writing, he probably would have been really funny, because he's really funny on the spot in interviews. They also do this annoying thing where they're constantly explaining everything that's going on. Like, there's a part where balloons get popped and poisonous gas comes out, and then someone's like, "Oh my god, the balloons popped and now poisonous gas is coming out." Thank you, movie. I also have eyeballs. They do that thing that every kid's movie does where the characters have to split up before the third act begins, which was predictable and cheesy as all hell. Honestly, the first hour and a half of this movie is so boring, and the last 10 minutes of this movie is so hilariously bad that it made up for the whole movie. It made the whole thing worth it because half my theater was laughing their asses off. Obviously, I do not recommend that you go see Detective Pikachu. It was fucking horrible, and I'm giving Detective Pikachu a D-. I hear people saying that this is breaking the curse of video game movies. Like, no. No, alright, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. I at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I texted my friend just this like suicidal rant of my top 29 reasons for hating this movie, because she actually enjoyed it. And okay, so I need to get into the ending. I'm going full into spoilers because the ending is so bonkers. I need to say what happens. So basically, the main character's dad dies in this tragic car accident, and one of the guys that his dad worked for shows him security footage of his dad fucking getting hit by a fucking meteor and dying. And so they make it look like Mewtwo killed his dad, and then his dad's partner was a Pikachu, so the Pikachu lived and got amnesia, so now the main character and the Pikachu are trying to solve what happened to his dad. And then at the end of the movie, Mewtwo comes along and is like, the dad you've been looking for was with you all along. And I thought he was trying to say that this guy didn't really need his dad because he can handle himself and he's a grown adult. But no, what actually happened is so much fucking dumber than I could possibly imagine. So basically, what happened was, this guy's dad was Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds died in this car accident that we see at the beginning of the movie, and Mewtwo tried to save Ryan Reynolds by shifting his soul into the body of the Pikachu. So the Pikachu we've been following for the entire movie was the main guy's dad all along. What? You mean to tell me that this guy didn't recognize his own dad's voice coming out of the body of a Pikachu? It doesn't make any sense. And also, Mewtwo's like, yeah, shifting the soul of a human into a Pokemon means that they lose all their memory, and that's why he had amnesia. But none of the other Pokemon that switched bodies with their humans had amnesia, so why is it that Pikachu has amnesia? And why do they have to have amnesia when they switch bodies? It doesn't make any sense. And if Mewtwo can give memories back, because he does, why doesn't he switch their bodies and then immediately give Pikachu his memory back? You know why? Because if he gave Pikachu his memory back immediately, then we wouldn't have a story, and then we couldn't have a movie. Because there's so many plot holes in this movie, and there's so much bullshit to try to explain them, and it doesn't work. This movie does not work. Do not see Detective Pikachu. Don't pay for this crap because you're supporting it with your dollar. And it already made its money back. I don't care. Fuck it. We're going to get 10 more Pokemon movies, and whatever. I'm going to go see Aladdin and want to die.